It's a great morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ronald Simanda. Thank you for viewing my content. It's a good morning. The sun is up. The green is there. Today you're going to bear with my sound. In Africa, we always have activity. Chicken, birds singing, children playing. Today I wanted to do this with nature around me, feeling some nature. And I cannot go outside, but yes, I can go outside, but I just chose not to go outside. But you're going to bear with me, and in case you hear any sounds, hey, bear with me. But it's always a great pleasure hosting you, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for subscribing. In case you've not yet subscribed and would love so much more of this content, feel free to hit the red glaring word written onto your YouTube interface, subscribe, right there. Alright, and in case you'd love to send this relationship to another place, feel free by hitting the bell icon, and you'll be receiving all notifications of all the content that I shall have uploaded anytime, anywhere. So my friend, I would love to thank my people who make me good soundtracks, guys like Joseph Arins, Faisal Mostrix, not forgetting BenSound, and also other good content producers, vloggers, Orange 83, Video Hive, Squarespace, and quite many more. If I didn't mention you, it doesn't make you zero. I'll be right back, and today I'm going to be talking about something that some people are going to hear me and will say, what do black people want? Yeah, I know what we want. I know what I want. But it does not mean that you're going to start hoodwinking us with some little lies, like how you hoodwinked us with the coronavirus. I'll be right back. I'm Ronald Sima, the son of a gun. So, yesterday I went for a birthday party, and it was one of the gatherings I've been to during this whole lockdown thing. Here in Africa, you can just never lock us down. We're just created to be free birds, and we would go and meet up our people and chat with them during this whole lockdown thing. And I mean, on the other hand, it was no disease. It was men in suits trying to make themselves some money. So, it was a great party. I'm having some leftover cake. If you'd love, I would send you some wherever you are. And there were drinks, there was some dancing. Of course, there's no party in Africa where people do not dance. I don't know about other places, but that's what happens here in Africa. And then also there were beautiful ladies, beautiful, endowed is a key word, endowed ladies of ebony. They were all there, and it was good. It was good. I enjoyed myself. So my friend, if you'd love to enjoy this more of this content, feel free to hit the subscribe button right there, glaring in red. And today I'm going to be talking about what is going on around the world, especially in the United States, and it's segregation, racism, and I'm going to use the term they're using, Black Lives Matter. Yes, why not? Today I'm going to be more of like a teacher again. I'm going to be, I've jolted down a couple of things that I'm going to be referring through. So bear with me. And the first thing is, one thing you should understand is that the black person has always mattered. It's so unfortunate that the world failed to acknowledge how the black people matter. If they mattered and found them really sensible, they would have not ever taken them as slaves in the first place. But we never mattered, so that's a big problem. And I'm going to tell you something. I don't think we shall ever matter. We are always going to be useless. We're going to be always less of human beings, according to white folks. I'm not being racist. I'm not a racist person. I love all people, all skin color, and I do not have time enough to waste being a color or trying to put someone in a certain color. Me, I see people. I don't see black, white, yellow, short, straight, long hair. No, I do not see that. I see human beings. Exactly. So let no one get up and say that I'm saying this or what I'm saying is derived from a racist mentality. No, absolutely no. So we go down and we try to understand. Everybody in the West is has always attributed every bad thing to a black person. There's a time I was in the States, in Chicago, and then every time you'd hear sirens go off like boop boop boo, and you're at the dining table having food, and they would say, "Oh God, those are blacks. Those are blacks." And you're like, really? Does it have to be black people? And while you peep outside, yes, there would be black people, but also that is brought about by something. But you would also find sometimes white folks being chased around by the sirens. But it's so prejudicially placed that it is always a black person that is held up into trouble. Yes, the biggest number, I'll be very honest, because I always tell people that if you're gonna fix something, start in your home. So the biggest number is definitely going to be caught into black people neighborhood, but it derives from somewhere. But that's not the time to talk about this right now. Maybe I elaborated that in one of my videos that you will check out. Maybe I'll put it down for you in the link description below. It's about the causes of racism, so you can check that out. So I'm not going to so much talk about that. But one thing I want us to understand is that while we say that in America Black Lives Matter, and right now we are seeing many statistics, we're seeing many videos going viral on social media about how disrespectful the police is. One time someone extracted a small snippet of the old sitcom Sanford and Son, and Sanford was talking to his boy, and his boy one time said that, "Do you know that hypertension and heart disease are the biggest killers of black people in America?" And then the old man said, "Oh, I didn't know about that. I thought it's the police." But so Sanford and Son was made in the 1970s. But these things have been happening. These things have been always going on. For those of you who've never watched Sanford and Son, sorry, it's not my. You can go on YouTube and try to check out those episodes and take a look at them. I know I speak to many young people these days, many millennials, so they might not be knowing about Sanford and Son. So if these things have always been happening, but one thing we should not forget is how deeply engraved racism is and segregation is, that we should stop looking at what has fallen right now and react to it like maniacs. Let us look at the things that have been happening and ask ourselves, why have we not responded to these things for all this time? A friend of mine shared with me a video on Instagram, and I told him, yes, I can see this video, but I want to ask myself, why now? Guys, I think we have to understand and grow up and understand. Every time you see something come to you, don't look at the thing, look at where it's come from, because nothing happens just as an accident. So I kept asking myself, why now? These things have been happening. These atrocities have been happening. A friend of mine's father one time traveled from here, and he had gone for a workshop in Washington, D.C. And he got tired of the food in America. He's an African man, and then he started just wandering onto the street, looking for a place that can serve him something related to the food that he's used to, food that he's accustomed to in Africa. And by virtue of being black, you are a criminal by default. And this is an old man. He's an assistant chief of our prison services in Uganda. He's walking. He has not committed any crime, And when the police saw him, they said, "Hey, you! Who are you and what are you doing?" Now, some of you are going to say, "But of course, how is someone supposed to differentiate a criminal from a non-criminal?" We're not stupid. The way someone speaks to you says a lot more than the words that come out of his mouth. And he said, "These guys didn't see a criminal in me. They prejudicially treated me to racism." I said, "Okay." And then they told him from a distance, "Identify yourself." But hey, they're very, very clever and confident African men who you're just not going to, or rather black men who you're just not going to sweep under the rug. He said, "If you knew who I was, you would salute." I'll be right back. I'm here eating cake from a birthday yesterday. So, I left off telling you about the story of Sean's father, who was asked who he was, and he said, "If you knew who I was, then you would salute." So they asked him, "Who are you?" He just pulled out his identification and then he showed them, and then he said, "Oh, sorry sir, sorry, okay." They had to escort him and take him to a place where they recommended that they would find some African food, and he ate, and after that they escorted him back. Thank you for taking care of our old man. Yeah, in Africa we always take care of our old people, so thank you for having the common sense to do so. So, I left off when I was asking, why now? Why have these things been happening? My friend told me that, hey, one thing you should understand, that there's always a tipping point. Why is the tipping point now? Why has it happened now? Why have, if it's been such a bad thing, should we take it that it has been always there, like bullets are into the chamber and it just needs a trigger, and this has been the trigger? Because that could also be the case, that this has just been a trigger and all this is now coming down like a pack of domino. So these are things that we should consider ourselves, but also we should understand that while we're fixing these things, the people who have been victims of this racism thing, by the way, it's not only Americans, it is all over the world. There are worse culprits. If you go to Spain, man, Spaniards are horrible people. You've had issues of Samuel Eto'o, racist words being hurled at him onto the football pitch. You've had Balotelli walking off the pitch several times, and the boards of soccer always being, you know, all these things have been happening. I'm asking myself, why now? Why now? I even get ashamed of sharing anything about this whole thing, because in my heart I'm like, why is it happening right now? Why has it not always happened? And yes, I'm supposed to embrace it and say, at last we've got the sun, at last the storm is over. Yes, the storm is over, but why has it gotten over now? Because the world we live in today, my friend, nothing happens accidentally. Everything happens for a reason. What is that hidden reason? These men in suits are very clever. They're going to get up and will say, okay, hold on, someone is ringing my bell. I have to be right back shortly. Hey, Africa. You always have your neighbors coming to check on you. Uncle, did you have a good night? Yeah, I had a good night. I'm concentrating on to something. First, leave me alone, and then you come back, and then, yeah, that's the beauty of Africa. So, I left off talking about and saying, why is it right now? And I was telling you, the men in suits, one thing you should understand is that they govern the whole world. The Rothschilds, the Bill Gates, and the quite others. You know the drill. So they might give you something with the left hand while they are prevaricatively taking away something with the right hand, or prevaricatively give you something with the right hand, taking away, stealing away something. So is it a form of distraction to the world so that something else can happen? These are things that I need people to wake up and be intelligent and understand, and not just be stupid. Stop being stupefied. You are a better race. You are a better human being. Stop going by this whole racism thing. As I had said, there are cases, bad, worse cases. At least America, by the way, can talk about them, and at least because they've had this kind of racial diversity, so at least they have some respect. Much as all this has exploded in America, at least they have some respect. Just imagine places like Spain, France, places like the UK. The UK, you will be so surprised. The UK, and I'm going to start by asking you, do you know how racially abusive and disrespectful it is when you're applying for an English visa? Do you know? Do you know? And do you know how easy it is for a British person to get a Ugandan visa? Someone just calls you up and tells you, today I'll be passing by the immigration, I'll be passing by your immigration to get my visa. And in the evening, I got my visa. Now I need to go and get my anti-malarials and a couple of things I have to gather together before I travel. It never happens like that. For us, when it's time to get a visa, people fall into depression because, oh God, I don't even know where to start. I don't know where to start, but those of you who come from Africa know how fucking hard, excuse my rhetorical, know how fucking hard it is to get a British visa. You know how disrespectful it is to get a British visa. Someone gets up and tells you, put all your documents into an envelope, send them in Pretoria, as if Pretoria is the capital of Africa. Africa has many countries. So how do you tell me that someone I don't even speak the same language with, we don't share the same staple food, we don't understand each other? Some of you think that Africa is one huge country. No, Africa is one huge continent. Now, with different countries, different coat of arms, different flags, different customs, different traditions, different everything. As a matter of fact, you leave one country of Africa and go to another country of Africa and you think maybe you've got out of the continent. So how do you tell me that you are going to vet all Africans in one central office in Pretoria, in South Africa? How do you tell me that? How do you answer that? And people, you end up not getting a visa just because you were misunderstood. Because, I mean, you also feel sorry for the person who's receiving these documents. If you can misunderstand someone in a single letter or in a text message, how about you have your passport, your bank statements, your proof that you're going to turn to Africa, therefore you have your land title, your wedding, your marriage certificate if you are married. If you're not married and maybe you intend to marry, you have to send all these pictures, proof that you are going to get married to this person and you don't want to stay there. How do you spend your annual savings and money? Remember, we do not have a credit system in Africa, especially in other parts of Africa. Maybe South Africa has it, maybe some parts of North Africa have it, but Central, East and West Africa, it's not the norm. So how do you start asking me how I earn? Most Africans do not have even a minimum wage, but you are putting us in one whole basket, and the term you use to judge us for us to travel to the UK or wherever it is a one-size-fits-for-all kind of verdict. Is that not racism? Is that not disrespect? If you can afford to put an embassy everywhere in Africa, how about you put there a visa vetting place where you're going to meet people face by face? But because we do not matter, your documents are banded down into an envelope and they're taken. There's a time when these guys used to lose our passports. You go to get a visa and you lose a passport. With impunity, they don't even apologize, they don't do anything, and it's happened. Tell me, is that respect? Hasn't it not been happening? And why is it right now a big deal? So whilst my friend was telling me that this is the tipping point, I was like, these things have been happening. As a matter of fact, we Africans are kind of getting used to them. So the question is, why now? Why is it now? There's so many other things that you're going to find that are racially abusive that we have stood, that are happening. Let us just not look at Floyd, who's been killed in America, and maybe other people who have been arrested the wrong way, others who have been shot into their houses, others. It's so annoying. It's so much annoying. So this whole thing, get your eyes from America alone. Widen your perspective of view. Widen your perspective of view. Then, I always love looking at things with a solution, because we're not going to always be here and keep on whining. We need to be respected racially. We need to be treated equally racially. And how long? How many years has this been going on? We have to evolve. We have to leave this whole place and be to a place. Find a more effective way of how maybe we shall be respected. And according to me, the son of a gun, I'm going to urge Africans to come back home. If you know you are an African American, if you know that you're segregated, what are you doing in a land of segregation? What are you doing there? These guys have proven to you that maybe they don't want to be racist, but maybe they've failed. They've failed to evolve from that barbaric way of looking at things. They've failed to upgrade their thinking to understand that people who are not their skin color are humans like them. They've failed. People fail. People fail. Let's accept that's a weakness. They've failed. How about you leave them into their failure? For all these years that have happened in decades, centuries, they've failed to understand that. Leave the goddamn stupid pink-skinned people. Come back home where you're going to be respected. Make your savings. Make friends in Africa. Come back home. I've seen people in Nigeria, in West Africa and Sierra Leone. There's a documentary that I shall leave you the link down in the link description below, the link to the documentary, where Sierra Leoneans are going back to Sierra Leone from the UK. People are coming back home. Akon started preaching this in 2004. Today, he has put up great stuff in the world. Let me try and take a look at these things. No, before I give you a hologram of that, let's go back to this whole thing. So, invest back at home. Come back home. And the reasons I will get to, because you will have reasons maybe that you're going to feel held back, but the reason is one, Africa is still underdeveloped. So in a place that still has underdevelopment, you have potential and room to come and invest here in Africa. There's a lot. You can become millionaires in euros, in cryptocurrency, in dollars, in Africa. Come back home. These guys do not want you. They've taught you that you do not belong there. You are slaves. Come back home to liberation. Stop whining. You are better people than just keeping on whining. No. Come back. In Africa, karibu. Hatuna matata. Disney went ahead and stole a word, an African word. You know, sometimes these things are so amusing. White people, what's wrong with you? You go ahead and say, because you've used it into a film that you have made money from, and you go ahead and steal it and patent it and say, hey, this word belongs to us now. You cannot use it anymore. Okay, have the word. We're going to have the grammar. So, karibu, people who are out there, rudi nyumbani, karibu nyumbani. And hapa Afrika hatuna matata. Patent that as well. Patent that as well. Have the word, we will have the grammar. We will twist the grammar. So you say you took hakuna matata, we're going to say hatuna matata. We don't have trouble. Africans, wake up. Wherever you are, you might have been mixed up, you're mulatto, you're wherever, but hey, you have African blood. Learn from the Jews. The Jews always know that their blood is their blood, and even if you're mixed up 1,000 times, you are a Jew. You will be taken back to home. So come back home. Wherever you are, whoever you are, come back home. And what is another reason? What is another reason that you should really come back home? We are also learning how to coexist with gay people. So if you're gay and you're out there and you say that in Africa there's no space, yeah, you might not have space in Nigeria and in Uganda. Man, who knows about tomorrow? Who knew that I would say this? There's some people who are going to hear me say this and say, really? He's saying this? Because I'll get up and I'll say, I'm the biggest homophobe in the world. I'm the biggest homophobe in the world. But if I can say this, then the world can find a cubicle to place you. So, come back home. Twisted, straight, bent, come back home. Exactly. These guys have failed to understand you. Come back home. So, I'll take you to where Akon tells us to come back home. To come back and invest home. And I'll give you just a snippet of it.
Africa's economic potential, I think, is to the roof. Hey, what's going on? This is Akon, and this is a word. Why African Americans should invest in Africa. My investments in Africa, I can say, probably started around 2004. Shortly after my Locked Up album, I said to myself, okay, I don't want to be that artist with just a one-hit wonder. So the little money I make right now, let me start buying some real estate. Honestly, I thought Africa was the best place for future investment, mainly because it was still underdeveloped. I kind of racked up, thousands and thousands of acres of land just by the water, seafront property. And I always felt like, the greater the risk, the greater the reward. Senegal was one of the first choices to invest in because I was home, I had family there. The most popular one I would say is the Akon Lighting Africa, which is my energy company. We're actually in about 16, 17 countries right now in all of West Africa. We've put up about 250,000 solar street lamps all throughout Africa, but now we've expanded totally. The business started with solar street lamps. Now we're actually doing solar grids. I'm building a crypto city starting in Senegal. That one is called Akon, Solartainment City, which is the first crypto city throughout the continent, basically. Right now, we got about 54 countries. Every single country in Africa has its own dollar or has its own currency. But the problem is none of the currencies are...
There you have it. I'll tell you just a pinch of African Europeans, African Americans, African, whichever mixed they are, as long as they're African, that are returning back home. Rio Ferdinand, the former Manchester United soccer star, he came back and invested here in Uganda, built up a whole in real estate, a whole big real estate kind of farm and Kensington apartments. It's there. That's investment from people from there, former slaves. In West Africa, look at guys like Don Jazzy. There are quite many. I do not know many of them, but there are quite many people who are coming back and are investing back at home. So guys, stop whining. Come back home. Chicken, what is it? Come back home. Enjoy such chicken playing in the neighborhood. There's no snow. There's no winter. Come back home. Let's enjoy this whole thing. Let's just stop whining. Leave them into their God-forsaken places where people eat refrigerated food, frozen food. Let them die of cancer. Come back home. Come back home. But on the contrary, when you return home, I don't want you to forget something. We have fraudsters. We have fraudsters, serious ones. And when you're coming back home, know who you're going to be investing with. Have a good African contact. Don't just say, I'm going to dive into Africa. No, we are sharp. We will steal from you. There are people who are just there and they will steal from you. So you better be careful and invest well. Invest cautiously. I have quite many projects that I would need a hand. I would need someone to come and help me hold my hand, and we shall make money here. And if you feel like you really want to share, hey, I will leave my email down in the description below so you can reach me, you can contact me. Come, let's cultivate this great land, this great black land, this great land of the sun. The great land where I started this vlog, the sun was up and now it's cloudy, and later on it shall be raining. Three seasons in one day. Come, let's enjoy this place. Let's inhabit this place. And with all those little words for you, it's been a great pleasure. Have yourself a good weekend. I would love to say thank you to all the vloggers out there that put up content that help people like us, fellow vloggers, enhance this content and make it good content. Orange 83, Audio Jungle, Video Hive, Envato, Squarespace, Deneka Marie, great African lady. I love you so much. Thank you for giving insight to the African woman. If other women say they are too Western and too sophisticated and too white not to be good women, teach our African girls to be good women, and we shall make the world a better place. I would love to thank the people that make me great soundtracks like this one. African sound. Yeah, great guys like these ones. They all need a hand. Come and invest back here. Let's shine. He's called Faisal Mostrix. You can check out his SoundCloud account and catch his music down there in the link description below. Joseph Arins, not forgetting BenSound. I love you so much. All my subscribers, all the people that leave me comments down there. Someone the other time left me a comment and said, hey, can we be friends? I'm the friend of the world. Be friends with me anytime, anywhere. For those of you who would love to contact me, I'm going to leave my email down in the description below. I love you so much. Subscribe more, like more. If there's anything that you feel that is not right I'm talking about, give it a thumbs down. Strong men are those ones that accept that they can be swat to the ground to learn and wake up tomorrow as better people. So my friend, share with me, subscribe, and if you feel that you would love to keep on receiving such good content like this one, feel free to hit the subscribe glaring word, that one. I'll be right back next time.